80% of success is just showing up. That expression will never go away. And you know who I've got to apply it to is Blachowicz. Now, I must admit, I'm speaking to a rumor that Blachowicz versus Pereira is going to be elevated to a world title fight. Now, I'm speaking to that because I believe it, and I don't believe it because I have any kind of inside information. That just makes sense to me. It would be impossible for you to tell me that they can't qualify to fight for a world title, considering they've both been the world champion, right? Consider they both, on multiple occasions, fought for the world championship. Why could they not fight against each other for the world championship? I mean, do you see where it does make a level of sense? Now, Blachowicz, surprisingly, I mean, he very quietly had his 40th birthday. I mean, he very quietly, he might even be 41, but he did it, but very quietly, he went into the 40-plus club. And Blachowicz is a very live dog, very live, to beat Pereira. In fact, when I call him a dog, I haven't actually confirmed that. I just imagine that he's an underdog. People love to tell me that MMA math doesn't work. It works all the time. It's the single greatest equation that we have when we have it available. And I just bring it to you. I mean, I know there was a lot of wrestling. I know there was a lot of holding down. I know it surprised you guys, but they were on their feet a lot too. Of course, I'm talking about Blachowicz and Adesanya. They were on their feet a lot too. They love to say 90% of fights go to the ground. Well, 100% of them start standing up, including that one. 5 different times. And Blachowicz stood his ground. That power is an incredible equalizer. I used to train with Dan Henderson. I mean, I can just tell you, that power is an incredible equalizer. We would have very skilled, very well-ranked boxers come in. They tee us all up, just like you think they would do, except him. And I will not admit that Dan had some kind of superior boxing to everybody. He had a power, he had a threat. He had a threat there the whole time. I only bring this to you because Blachowicz, they talk about the Polish power, they talk about the Polish hammer. They named him the Polish hammer for a reason. He didn't give himself that name, just to remind you. He was putting people to sleep. He's putting world champions to sleep. He put Luke Rockhold to sleep, just by example. Blachowicz is a nasty guy. He should have retained his title, in my opinion, the night that he took on Ankalaev. He won the first 3 rounds. I was on a group text with UFC judges that were not assigned that night. Going into the 4th round, hey, Blachowicz has already won the first 3, right? All of them, unanimous, yes. Yes, he's won 3. Oh, you know what? He did win 3. He did win 3. You remember they gave Ankalaev a 10-8 in the 5th. Blachowicz did win 3. Those judges were correct. My analysis, my memory is correct too. He won 3. Mathematically, he had this thing locked up. And I just bring it to you because that would be a hell of a way to go, right? You work hard to get a world championship, get it taken away from you. Come hook or crook, you're back in the main event. You're back in that title fight. You go out and you do the work that they said couldn't be done. They said Ankalaev was going to pick him apart. And he did for 2 rounds, but there was 5. I mean, I'm just saying, do the math. And now Blachowicz could find himself back in that opportunity. Now let's look at the other side, guys. Let's just say that rumor isn't true. Why? Why would that rumor not be true? And there is things that happen. We have had guys that have been offered a world title fight on short notice, and they said no because of the rounds. I'll give you a great story. UFC 200. Daniel Cormier is getting ready to take on Jon Jones. This is going to be the main event. Jon Jones tests hot. They don't even know if they're going to be able to get Daniel a fight. They call Anderson Silva in Brazil, who was not training. Oh, and by the way, who was an 85-pounder. I think he was ranked number 2 at 85 at the time. Who gets on a plane, jet-lagged and not prepared, but he told Dan, he said, hey, I'll do it for 3 rounds. Dan says, look, Anderson, it's for the belt. Cormier is the champion of the world. Wherever he goes, the belt goes. It means it's 5 rounds. I don't make the rules. Nevada makes the rules. It's 5 rounds. Anderson said, no, I'll come and fight him, and I'll fight him at 205 pounds. And I'll fight him under those rules, but I'm only going to do it for 3 rounds. I'm not through training camp. I understood it fully. And Dana didn't like the answer. Dana said, but Anderson, what if you win? I said, Anderson, what happens if you knock Daniel out in the 2nd round? You won't be world champion. Anderson said, yeah, that'll make me the world champion. I'm not sure. I'm just reminding you of the story. I don't believe that a primed up Pereira or a primed up Blachowicz, as hungry as they both are, knowing full well that the world title is just right on the cusp, I don't believe that either of them would turn it down. Blachowicz, am I saying his name wrong? I want to say it right. Blachowicz, I want to say it right. He deserves for me to say it right. Jan, former world champion at 205 pounds. He's taken on a former world champion at 185 pounds. This is as close to a super fight without being a super fight as you can get. This is what you've got champion versus champion make super fights, right? You are one removed. You are former champion in this division, former champion in this division. Now, when we look at the side of, maybe it's just a rumor, when we look at that, what would the benefit be to making this a world title fight? What would the benefit be? You got a division, you want to have a champion, you got 2 former champions. I mean, this is who everyone's looking to as the #1 contenders match. It makes a level of sense, and historically speaking, that when you find yourself in this situation, you take a look at what's already signed, you identify the hardest and most competitive match that you already have signed, and you elevate that to a world title. Historically, that's what you would do. I predict that's what's going to be done. Why? I mean, aside from we would like to have a world title, why? What difference does it make? I'm following Yuri Prochazka's social media very closely. I am recently a fan of Prochazka, by the way. A bigger fan. I always admired his work, but I'm a much bigger fan. And he said something along the lines of, I guess my return will be against the winner of Blachowicz and Pereira, and it will be for the belt. And he was saying it not as though he was delivering information for us. This was a thought off the top of his head, and that's how he wrote it out. Like, this is my current thought. And that part is interesting to me. Is there any truth to that? Is there any truth? Where is his return? I mean, where is Prochazka's return? Is this shoulder healed? Is he in practice and he's going live and he's going full goes? And, you know, I haven't been told that. Quite frankly, I haven't been told that about Conor McGregor either. It looked like, through the Ultimate Fighter, it looked like he was going full bore, but only he would know. There could be something that's holding that back. And I only bring that to you because I don't know what's going on at 205 pounds, but it sure as hell appeared that they were in no hurry to get on with it. Jamal Hill captured the belt in January. I only know that because the title fight that was supposed to be for the belt was in December, ends in a draw. They kicked to the next pay-per-view, which was only a month away in Brazil. I just had that one off the top of my head. They never rebooked him. So what was going on at 205? What difference does it make? Put the belt around somebody, don't put the belt around somebody. Prochazka gave it back. If Prochazka returns, why not hand him back the belt? Why wouldn't we? Ronda Rousey and Jose Aldo were champions of the UFC without ever having fought in the UFC. That's not a riddle. That happened. There was a chance that they both were going to lose, and the history books would say they were the champion, never having a win. I mean, it's not a riddle. Why would we not just give the belt back to Prochazka? I understand that that's not what we're going to do. We're going to get on with it, and it appears that we're going to do it on this match. But what if somebody pushes back? And if they do push back, what's the emphasis on trying to get it done? What difference does it make? If it's to set up a championship fight for Prochazka, who's returning at a date of which has not been disclosed to us, what difference does it make? How do we know that Prochazka is going to get back to the octagon before Jamal gets back to the octagon? We haven't been told anything by either guy. We have never in history of the light heavyweight division known as little as we know right now. We might have a world title fight in 2 weeks, and nobody's told us.